To be able to view the output we just generated into a file, and indeed to be able to view all the outputs we're going to be working with during the tutorial, and since I can't show you a piece of paper very easily on camera, let's define a menu. Let's use a FilePro menu to help us see these things. Okay, I'll go into define menus. How about if we define a menu called, let's see, we'll make a VG menu. There appears to already be one. Here's one that says tutorial testing. Remember we made this during the define menu section. Let's just use that. Okay, here's tutorial testing. On this menu, which we've already designed, we have the customer file. That's kind of neat. Let's keep that there. See where that works. We don't need WordPerfect. I'll F4 that. We don't need the Rolodex. I'll F4 that. And we don't need Vicky's menu, so forth. Let's push this down. No, we'll leave the customer file there. Okay. To view, let's put, how about a V for view? View labels. And we know that they got generated into a file called temp test.prt. There are a lot of methods on Unix for looking at a file, but let's use one that's common to both Windows and Unix, so it depends on whichever operating system you're using. We'll use the application called More. I'm pretty sure that's going to be on every computer out there. This will let us look at a file, and I want to be looking at temp test.prt. Again, you might want to be looking at c:\test.text or whatever you called your file. If you're playing along with me and not just watching the tutorial or making your own things, you might want to adjust accordingly. But all I'm going to run is a command called more, and it's going to open that file whenever I pick this view choice right here. I saved the menu. No, I don't want to change its password. No, I don't want to hard copy it. Okay, now let's go run that menu. VG. Now we're on that menu. I'm going to pick choice V. Okay, these are the labels that were generated for us when we just printed labels. Let's take a look at them. You see how for the very first one, the Hiller group, okay, it has 4 lines. It looks pretty good. All of them look pretty good. But some of these don't have a second address, and the line is, I'm pressing the down arrow. You can see it's pretty squirrely looking. The label's going to look pretty funny with that second address. You know, just sort of, there's Fred at the Valor Group. He doesn't have a second address. Some of these people I can see don't have, or at least I know they don't have any companies. Many people in this file don't have companies. So that line will be blank in a lot of cases. I'm just sort of down arrowing through so you get an idea of how these labels are going to actually print. Well, we can fix this. Let's go fix these things. I don't want it to have blank lines like that. So how will we fix that? I'm going back off the menu. I'm going to go to Define Output 3, go to that file that we're in, and I'm going to pick the label format. I don't want to just find a new one. I'm going to go fix this one. I'm going to press Update, and I'm going to go to the page that we first designed the label on. And you do that by pressing F8 for the Options page. So I press F8, and here's that page where here's the options page, and on the I get to do various things, change the sort, which we had done, and so forth. Let's press O for options. Okay, now here's the options page where we designed it. We put 80 lines, we said it was 6 lines deep and 2 and so forth. Let's stop at this question which says remove blank lines. Yeah, we certainly want to do that on a label format, so I'll put a Y there. Still say same printer, all this stuff stays the same. Press Escape, 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 Escape on the format, and X out. Let's go run this format. Matter of fact, before I run the format, I'm going to set the file name E to VG Customers because we're using it a lot. And let's go run this format with D, request output. I'm going to hit labels. And now I'm going to pass by the index. I'm going to accept the sort. And I'm going to say yes, pick all records again. Okay, it generated them. Great. There we have a new generation of labels in that file. If I press G for run the user menu, and I pick the user menu we want, and I view the file, now if you see all the lines are nice and neatly closed up. All these labels are going to look very nice, okay? There's no blank spaces on them, so they looks very weird. However, let's look at that one. See what it says Robert Foy, Thomas Garrity. I can't read all these. Okay, this doesn't look good. Having a space between the first name and the last name, well, that's pretty moronic too. I'm going to put out of this file. Let's go redefine the output. Okay, I'm going to go to output. I'm going to redefine the file format called labels. I'm going to press update. And can you guess what I'm going to put over here? You remember that operator that we used in the show statement, the push left operator, which pushes a field up against whatever's to the left of it, leaving just one space? This leaves one space. And you remember this one? That pushes it up without leaving any space. Well, this one is not available on any output format. Cannot use the squish left operator, but you can use the less than, which means the push left operator. It will leave one space between the first name and the last name. So I'm going to do that. And guess what? I don't know if you noticed, I'm sure you did, but the same thing happened with the city and the state. There was a big space because it printed the whole space for the city, the whole 15 characters of the field. Then it started printing the state. Then it started printing the zip code. So let's fix this too. There's no reason not to. On a label format or such a report format, labels and reports, you can use the push left operator. And there's no reason not to just do it here. Although there's exactly one space between here and here, we might as well just use it right across the board. There will be city, state, zip without any spaces. Okay, let's go run this again. Matter of fact, let's not run it again. Let's first put the fact that we want to generate these labels onto our menu. Let's go redefine this menu. 6 user menus. This is part of the power of FilePro. You're constantly using all the applications to make your life easier as a designer. And we'll go down to this view menu. Let's push the view menu down one, and let's have one called G, generate output. Okay, generate output. And on this, we're going to do if you look up at the top where we get into the FilePro Inquire, Update, and Add, we did FPD clerk. Remember here, we're going to do FP/D report. Okay. Then we're going to put the name of the file that we want to run the output for. VG customers. And then we want to put the -F, the name of the format. The name of our format was labels. This is an output format. And we want to run it against all records. Okay. And remember, I always told you that because we're running on a multi-user system, generally, you want to put a -U. And I'll explain that unlock switch a little bit later on. But now I've put on the menu a choice. Okay. We'll say no, I don't want, no, I don't want. On this menu, if I run the user menu now, I have a choice that will just quickly generate that label. It won't ask me all those questions about what file, what format name, do I want to use an index, how do I want to sort it. I'm just going to hit enter. You notice it just blinked. Boom. It did that entire report, generated it into the file. Now I can just look at the V and view that file. There we are. We have 2 menu choices helping us do what we want to do. And you notice that now we have everything is beautifully set up. You can see if I down arrow that the city, state, zips are all pushed next to each other. There's one Orange, New Jersey 07932 is what I'm hearing in my ear. Okay. Everything is good. We've now closed up blank lines and we've closed up spaces left and right. This is a pretty good label format. Looks pretty good. Now what I would do, I would go to the format, 3, define output. I would go to the label format, press update, go to the options page by pressing F8 and O, and I go down to the printer. This is our test printing, so we can take a look at what our formats are going to look like before we print them. And I pick a real printer, like maybe the printer called Mary. Okay. Well, I don't have a printer called Mary. How about a printer called HP? Maybe I have a printer called HP. I do. Okay. So that will actually print to the HP printer. Of course, we don't want to print to an HP printer. We just decide labels that will work on a dot matrix printer. We didn't make any adjustments for sheet-fed printer here. But I could print to any printer that is, dot matrix. Accounting happens to be one. I just know the names of all my printers. It's very useful if you know that, if you can know the names. If not, you press F6 and you get a list of all your printers, and you can hopefully know which ones are dot matrix or where you want to print your print output to. You pick one, whatever it is. You can even print on a color or DeskJet, perhaps, Okay, now every time if I were to go and leave this in here, save it, and escape, and X out. If I were to go to my user menu, VG, and pick this choice which says generate labels, boy, it would definitely print on that printer, so I don't want to do that. Okay? I'm just giving you an idea that you have to be very careful where you're printing. If you're printing into a file for test purposes, for viewing, or are you printing to the real printer, because you can sure waste a lot of labels and paper. Okay?